And here we go in the Visitors Challenge Cup. Oxford University on the left-hand side, Cambridge University and Leander Club on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, look, this is the 4 losing blues from this year's Oxford boat race, and they're really up against it with the putative under-23 British crew. They're up against Harvard, Yale, and the new Cambridge president, Freddie Davidson, in the 3-seat. And I expect these guys on the right of our screen to go hammer and tongs at this race.
Yeah, taking off here early. The crew on the right of your screen, Cambridge University and Leander Club in the Buck Station. Having a very solid start, just taking 3 seats at this point in the race. Still very early on, but we will move very soon up to Fawley, where we can see how this race is starting to unfold.
Well, credit to Oxford here. They really have attacked and attacked and attacked to hold on as much as they possibly can to the crew on the left of our picture. And I think they're doing a pretty good job, pretty aggressive, as we see the bowman in the Oxford crew there. That's Charlie Pearson looking across. He's the 2016 Junior World bronze medalist, and he won the Princess Elizabeth here at Henley, so no stranger to this stretch. So looking across, trying to keep his crew in touch with the under-23s on the left of our screen.
And we can see the umpire there, John Hedger, warning the crew in the Buck Station. That's Cambridge University and Leander Club to move back onto their line, back into their station. But it almost looks like the Oxford crew is kind of following them across the course. So both of these crews will have to be wary about where they're steering. And it looks like Oxford are now correcting their steering as well. In that boat from Oxford, Charlie Pearson, Ben Landis, Luke Robinson and Augustin Wombassy. As you said, rowing in the blue boat for Oxford this year, which lost to Cambridge in the boat race.
Yeah, they had a pretty tight race yesterday against the British Columbia crew, and had a narrow lead all the way down, so I think they're going to have pretty tired legs, but to their credit, they really are doing everything they possibly can to hold on to Cambridge and Leander. Looking here at their very strong stroke. You can really sort of see the power in that leading crew, Sarah, can't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can see this leading crew as they start to come by. We get a bit of a better look at their technique and how they're going about things. You can see the tandem rig in the middle of the boat, which means that the 2 oarsmen in the middle of the boat are rowing on the same side, rather than what we call a conventional rig, where the oars alternate down the boat from side to side.
Yeah, and they're being warned actually again, but I agree on that tandem rig. You can see they do really move very well together. Sometimes, if you're not quite in time, it can make the boat quite unstable actually. But really good to see the blade work there on the tandem in the middle of the boat, looking quite strong. But they've been warned as they move across to the middle again. Umpire John Hedger keeping a close eye on them.
Yeah, and you get a good picture, I think, from behind here of what's making these crews move down the course. The crew on the right-hand side, Oxford, they've got the rate up. They're not quite as composed through the back end. They're really not finishing those strokes off. They're on to the next stroke a little earlier, whereas this crew here in the lead, they're really sitting back on it quite aggressively, really dynamic through the back end of the stroke, just pushing that boat on every stroke and letting it run out and making the most of that boat run.
Yeah, and they're bigger men in this boat, aren't they? I mean, you've got an average of 93 kilo here versus the Oxford crew of 82 kilos, so that's a fairly big average weight advantage, and I think you can see that now. As I'm mentioning the strong style, you can see Charlie Ells in the stroke seat, his legs going down hard, big guy, 102 kilos sitting there setting the boat up. Quite unusual actually to have such a big guy in the stroke seat. Often you have the big guys in the middle of the boat, but they've obviously found this combination works well for them.
And he does look very tall. We don't have a height on our notes here, but he does look like a very tall rower. And it's interesting that they've alternated the weights down the boat as well. 102 kilos, yeah. Charlie Ewells in the stroke seat, 81 kilos, Freddie Davidson in 3, 100 kilos, Thomas Digby in 2, and then David Ambler in the bow seat, 88 kilograms.
Yeah. It's a crew of 2 halves, isn't it? But they really have, I think, broken open a pretty unassailable lead now against Oxford. Unless something goes wrong, these guys are looking forward to Saturday. We're looking there at the bow of David Ambler. He's the steersman in this boat. He's got a little wire attached to his foot to try and keep them straight. So he's been the person that umpire John Hedges had a word with a couple of times as they go down here. But they're coming through the enclosures. I've got to say, it's absolutely packed in the enclosures this afternoon. People really enjoying a great afternoon and evening of rowing.
But all 3 days have been like this. The racing has been amazing. We had one of the tightest finishes ever in the regatta's history on the Wednesday. We've seen some incredible racing. It's been absolutely packed here. I can't wait for Saturday's racing. We're almost there.
I think we're in line for a record, Henley, record entries and maybe some record times to come.
As we come down to the line in the Visitors Challenge Cup, it will be Cambridge University and Leander Club taking the win over Oxford University.